What's going on? Welcome to K.A.E Sports Talk. And if you can give me the HKO special, help the king out, hit the like, subscribe, and comment. So today we're going to talk about Group C, the preview of the FIBA World Cup. So we have teams like Jordan, Team USA, Greece, and New Zealand. So we're going to cover Group Z today. So let's start it off by covering Jordan. Yes. So there you go. And I've been kind of following Jordan because I've been following like Dark Tucker here. So yes, they are ranked number 33rd in the rankings. So there's Jordan Dark Tucker and Freddie uh, Ibrahim. So those are the two. Yep, so they are headed back. Okay, so how did they qualify? Jordan entered the qualifiers by reaching back to back for the first time, and Wessam Asus was in charge of the effort. So the head coach of the senior national team, including the 10 World Cup, over the course of the 23 Asian qualifiers, Jordan had some outstanding individual performances and their ups and downs. And the Asians, finally finished a deal this past year in the window. So, the qualification tipped up with a nice 13-point comeback to beat Saudi Arabia in Group C, and then the return to fixture in Saudi Arabia days later, but Jordan failed to hold the 13-point lead and they lost 72-64. So there you go. Yeah, so February 2022 started with a strong victory as Dar Tucker scored 29 points. Hamid Adawari had 11 points, 12 rebounds as Freddie Ibrahim chipped in 11 assists. Okay, and then Ibrahim notched another double-double in Jordan's win over Indonesia. So they booked themselves in the second round window, and then they lost to Lebanon, but rebounded and beat Indonesia. So, and then the Asia Cup 22 followed later in July, and Jordan beat Iran, and then they ended up losing to Lebanon and then New Zealand in the third place game. And then back to the Asian qualifier start of Group B, so defeated India, and Tucker Florida a triple double there. Yep, so Jordan could not grab a second win as they lost 172 to New Zealand. Of course, Tucker had 19 points, 12 rebounds. And now the 22 began with a disappointing loss to the Philippines. So Tucker net 23 points as Al Dawari has 18 points and 16 rebounds, but they were not enough as Jordan dropped their first home game since 2018. And yes, but the main guy stepped up. So Dar Tucker. So that's how we go. And then they dished out a win over New Zealand. So I've kind of watched this throughout the year, and so Jordan actually were guaranteed their spot in the World Cup even if they before they play their first game in 22 as New Zealand beat Saudi Arabia. Jordan celebrated later in the day with a 98-63 over India. And then Jordan finished with a qualification with a thrilling, not nervous 91-90 win in Philippines. Jordan lost a 24-point but ended up getting the victory thanks to Tucker's 22 points, 12 rebounds. So the best result, they'll be playing in their third World Cup, second straight appearance. Asians grabbed 23rd, 10, the best finish ever. So Jordan took 28th place in China 19, and then their last World Cup, they lost the 5 group stages, and they lost their first game to Australia by 1 point and dropped their game to Argentina. And then, of course, in 19, Jordan was defeated in all first 3 round games, 80-76 versus Dominican Republic, before being beaten by 39 to France, 34 to Germany. Jordan failed to win their openers in their 32nd classification, losing by 55. But Jordan finished the tournament with the first win in the World Cup, beating Senegal to finish 28. Of course, players to watch, Freddie Ibrahim, and of course we have Dar Tucker. So I've been, watching these guys play all year long. So, so we're looking, and then Ahmed Adwar is of course at the age of 30. And of course, we have a lot of 30-year-olds, and even Zayed Abbas, who is still going strong, making his third World Cup appearance. So, yep. And and of course, Sammy Bazai will also play a major role this summer, as will Amin Abu Hawas and Hasamawas. So this is what we're dealing with now. Unfortunately, they're playing, USA, Greece, New Zealand. They're gonna finish last. I hate to say it, but yeah, this team, but they've showed improvement. So, but I don't know if they can grab maybe a win or two. So we'll see. So it's remain to be seen. So yep. So I've been following Jordan. So, but I'm still looking forward to see him do well. All right, and now let's go to New Zealand. Yes, the New Zealand team. Yes, and I've been following New Zealand all year too. So there is New Zealand. Yep, the Tall Blacks dream of another 0-2 magical run. So yes, they are uh, gonna be playing. Let's see, and there they go. So yep. So a lot of these players I follow because they play in the Australian NBL and I follow the New Zealand NBL. So how did they qualify? So they went into the Asian qual finishing 19th in the 19th World Cup before they started the qualification campaign. So Tallbacks made a coaching change with legendary player Pero Cameron making the jump from assistant coach of 8 years to replace Paul Hinare. At the end, yep, they locked up their spot with Indonesia, Japan, Philippines, and 22 with two windows to spare. So they kind of, yep, wrapped it up. And Cameron and his troops wait for the second window to begin their quest. And the Tall Blacks were dominant in the bubble in the Philippines, beating India by 55, knocking up the Philippines by 25. So, yeah, they've been beating up on the Philippines. Now, Rob Lowe, Tom Bogdanovic, yeah, were outstanding in the first games. So Lowe collected three double doubles, and Bogdanovic leading all games with 20 points. So collecting a bunch of double doubles. So here they are at their place. And Asian qualifiers, yep, the campaign also gave the New Zealand fans to see what these beloved Tall Blacks again. So New Zealand's 106-46 over the win over Philippines. Auckland was the first time the team played on home soil, beating Syria in Wellington. So in the 18. So here's the Asia Cup now. Followed and Cameron took a very young team to Indonesia, six players 23 years or younger, and none older than 26. Yeah, they took a real young team. The Tallbacks lost to Australia in the semis and beat Jordan for third place. Yeah, that was the game, and I did these games. And Cameron and company returned to the qualifiers in 22, collected a 15-point win at Saudi Arabia, then defeated Jordan. Yep, 172 in Auckland. So Tall Blacks had to wait later today when Philippines beat Saudi Arabia to confirm New Zealand's return to the World Cup. So locking up all those qualifications, he wanted to test the November window. So the inexperience was too much for him as they lost two games by against veteran teams, 12 points to Lebanon and 17 by Jordan. And of course, yeah. So just a lot of different players. And then of course Ethan Rushbach was only one to play with Taylor Britt and Hylam Harris, who played for the Adelaide 36ers, but now to play for Perth Wildcats. And then the best result is New Zealand will be playing the World Cup 7 times, 6 times in a row after debuting in '86, led by the core of Pero Cameron, Sean Marsh, Kirk Penny, McDougall, Phil Jones, Paul Hinari. So, of course, a couple of them are coaches. So, capture imagination of the world in Indianapolis. So, they beat Venezuela and Russia to reach the second round, knocked up China to advance to knockout. And then the Tallbacks beat Puerto Rico 65-60 quarterfinals to reach the top four, the country's best showing. But New Zealand lost to Yugoslavia in the semis and were beaten by Germany in the third place. And New Zealand fans will ever remember the 0-2 year. So, yep. So that was their last World Cup appearance. Of course, New Zealand once again passed through the opening stage of 14, beating Ukraine and Finland. But the round of 16, however, was their Achilles heel. So yeah, lost to Lithuania 76-71. And at 19, New Zealand lost the opening game to Brazil before beating Montenegro. So Tallbacks fell to Greece to miss out on the second round, heading into the classification where they beat Japan and Turkey to finish 19th. So there's these key members. It is a short list. We got Isaac Fatu, Shea Illy, Finn Delaney, Troy Merrill Smith, Jordan Natai all play, and I think they're going to be playing on this squad. In addition to Smith and Milner, other members of last year's Asia Cup was named to the squad, and of course Flynn Cameron, Hylam Harris, Sam Timmons, and Taylor Britt. So the team went all the way through the seven before finishing at the podium at third place in the Asia Cup. Yep. And of course, yep, point guard Flynn Cameron. I think he plays for the University of Riverside. If I'm, yep, that's what I remember. And New Zealand coach Peril, his dad Peril. So father, son, and then of course they had a triple double against Korea in the quarterfinals. He had 15 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. So that's Flynn Cameron right there. And of course they're gonna have Yanni Wetzel, who spent time in Europe. So they're gonna be ready. Walter Brown, and who plays for Tasmania Jack Jumpers. Isaiah Laefa, who plays for the Breakers, and of course Dan Fatu, who plays for the Breakers too. So yep. So Wetzel, yeah, and I've seen Wetzel play. You know, having played all various amount of sports, but he switched to basketball in high school and ended up pursuing it en route to playing Division 2 in at St. Mary's. A lot of Aussies and New Zealand players went to St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. And then in Germany, he averaged 9.3, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.4. So, yep, Finn Delaney, yeah, that's going to be exciting. So New Zealand, they'll be in the hunt, because USA, Greece, Jordan, and they're playing Jordan again, and then they might probably tinker in the second and third. So that's going to be really tough with this pool here. So that's where we're at with New Zealand. So now we're going to head over to Greece. Yes, of course. Greece was is going to be even without Giannis, they're going to cause problems. Yes, so Greece qualified, of course, and they're going to be So they're going to have to really go. Of course, this advertisement was put out, before, but Giannis says he's not going to be able to gonna play. So unfortunately, they're not going to have Giannis in this. So, but they'll have his brothers play. But there's plenty of NBA talent on this squad. So, yep. How did they qualify? So, plenty of times when former Rick Pitino assistant coach, yep, and Sotris Manopoulos was installed at the helm of the national until the two-time winner Demetrius took over the coach, Gene Giannis, and his two brothers. So Giannis ain't gonna be there once again. But Greece campaign starts in Group B. Started with a real shocker as they went to Great Britain and were upset. Yep, first loss because they all the stars weren't there. And of course, the first game in Athens saw Greece was a 10-point wasted a 10-point quarter lead before Kostas drained two free throws and of course 3.0 seconds for the 72-71 win. And Demetrius and Georginas were the heroes of the first two windows. So and they torched Turkey for 22 points, 11 points in front of 70-67 win in front of 14,500 fans. Now the next 2 months in April and March, they saw long-serving George Penitras announce his first retirement as Greece's new head coach. So Greece advanced in the second round, and of course they did it without pretty much the um, of let's see Giannis and all them, but they were expectedly annulled and canceled due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So major highlights in the fourth window, August 22nd. This is where Giannis played. Giannis arrived and in time for the epic showdown between the two-time Jokic and Serbian Belgrade. So both the game and superstar lived up to the hype. You know, Greece losing in overtime in front of the European qualifiers, 19,150 fans. Jokic had 29 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. And Giannis broke the European qualifiers by scoring a low 40 points to go with 8 rebounds, 5 assists. So yeah, this was an attendance, that was broken 3 days later by 19,440, packed by the Oka for Giannis. Yeah, the first national game in Greece, 17 points over Belgium, which the NBA star had 26.7 rebounds. But after disappointing quarterfinal exit, host Germany in the FIBA Eurobasket, and I even covered that. Greece was picked apart by locking the first game in 22, but the real finished the qualification with thrilling 72-70 win. See, you see the jam-packed crowd of this game. Okay, and then of course Greece. So best results, Greece will be playing the World Cup for the ninth time and fifth in a row. So they reached the semifinals in 94 and 98, but lost and went home empty-handed, losing the third place game. So yep. So but there's a lot of these generational players who beat the United States in the '06 semifinals, but lost to Spain for the final and second place, the country's best result ever. So their last World Cup appearance, let's see, after reaching semis 94, 98, and then grabbing silver in '06, and then they lost to Spain in 10, and then defeating the group phase. They were knocked out by Serbia at the same stage. Now, in China, the 19th World Cup, Greece lost to Brazil with a 2-1 in the first group. Hellas lost by 16 points to the United States to start the second stage and beat Czech Republic by 7, but missed out on the quarterfinals by finishing in a three-way tie for third place. So yeah, so Giannis was there. So of course, on July 20th, announced a 22 preliminary roster. Okay, so you can scratch Giannis off that list, but they're still good enough to finish maybe second. Maybe if they had Giannis, they could beat the U.S., but we'll see. And of course, Giannis field the last two crews had his best performance, averaged 29. He had 41 over Ukraine, and two of his brother Kostas and Donis are also on this list. But on August 11th, Giannis announced that his health prevented from participating. So a tough blow for the national team. So Greece have listed Thomas Walkup, who's shown in European the past season. So he could maybe make the flash. And of course, we do have some of these European players who can still cause a lot of the problems. So I think Greece is going to finish second in the group, or I don't know if U.S. doesn't take this team seriously, they could finish in the top one. But against Team USA, even if it's a secondary team, it's going to be remain to be seen. So that's where we're at. But let's go to Team USA. I'm gonna kind of make it quick because I already did a video on Team USA. Yeah. So let me get that. Let me get that out of there. Okay. They're doing this crap again. Like, let's play this game. So here we go. So let me make sure I get Team USA up here. So let's see. So USA. Here we go. Yep. So all right. So yep. Steve Kerr's gonna be behind the helm of this, right? So Steve Kerr is going to be the head coach for Team USA. So, yep. So they're the number two team, of course. Yep. And of course, they're five-time World Cup champions. Of course, yep. So in the last one, they did bad in the last one. They ended up in seventh place. Yep. So former head coach Jim Boylan was at the helm for this. and of course used 52 players to lock up the USA team. So yep, and USA predominantly came with G League players having, and of course they had a lot of a significant time. But two former NBA stars, Isaiah Thomas and Joe Johnson, they are running it. But yeah. So a lot of these players, yeah, guys I don't know. Lansing Galloway, who played 8 years and appeared 10 to 12 games as Willie Davis, Daquan Jeffries, and David Stockton played in 3 or 4 windows. And another thing, yeah, in this windows, none of these NBA players were used, so they've actually were taken away. But United States stumbled out of the gates in 21 in the bubble. They put Cuba away and lost to Mexico after failing to hold a 13-point lead in the league. Isaiah Thomas scored 21 points in each of the games. Second window, Portland had only one player back for the first U.S. window, and U.S. East in the 2 wins in D.C., beating Puerto Rico and Mexico. Yeah, so U.S. team extended the winning streak to 4 games in the 22 window uh, by beating these teams. So, yep, Justin Jackson scored 26 points against Puerto Rico, and Xavier Mumford pouring 24 against Cuba. Who, oh yeah, and I remember Xavier Mumford played in the Australian NBL. Jenkins was a star of 22 as he collected 22 points with a win over Uruguay in Las Vegas and dropped 26 with a win in Colombia. So United States of America lost the second game of qualifiers in 22nd as Brazil came to the U.S. Cup and left with a 94-79 win. So Galloway, Stockton both had 23 points, and this is the son of John Stockton, if you guys didn't know. U.S. bounced back and to beat Colombia in Washington, D.C. So, yeah, so so Boiler finally knocked it. Boylan knocked up the first game in 23 windows, but it took time as U.S. trailed Uruguay 21 to 10. But after it ended up winning 88-77, Galloway started once again with 21 points, and the United States lost the final game, dropping to Brazil 83 to 76. So the best results of the World Cup. USA has never won't miss the World Cup. They've won 5 titles, so no country's ever done that. Okay, so they were crowned world champions first time in '54, and then finished in runner-ups in '50 and '59. So in the 5 World Cups between '63 and '78, USA collected one third place finish. They have gone home with a medal 8 of the last 10 editions, including as champions in '86, '94, 2010, 2014. So yep, and of course, yeah, they've seen the success in the podium numerous amount of times. And they went undefeated at 10, 14, and 19. They won all 3 games in the first round. So, and then of course the last one they ended up losing to Serbia in the fifth and eighth place classification and ended up seventh. So yeah, so of course on June 6th they announced a very strong roster. Yep, their roster's pretty much set, you know. So they got, of course, going back in 10, USA arrived with a new entire team at World Cup, unleashed talents like Durant, Curry, and Westbrook. But of course, they're going to go up against Group C. So we have 3 NBA All Stars: Edwards, Halliburton, Jackson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year, Jackson Jr., Rookie of the Year, Paulo Banchero. So yeah, so this is a team that they have. So pretty much, I'm just gonna mention. So yeah, it is not the super best, but it's a better. It's more improved than 2019. But this is the 12 guys that they are going with. Is it good enough to win the World Cup title? I mean, they're favored to win this. So that is remain to be seen, and I'm look forward to looking at Paul Banchero and Austin Reeves. So yeah, so this is the Team USA roster, and you know that's what we're looking at right now. And yeah, so and I will be there in Manila to watch Team USA. So I will go for the Americans. But of course, I'm going to catch some of the other teams like the Gilas Philippines and all that. All right. So, yep. So that ends my preview. But I think USA is going to finish top of the group. Maybe Greece, New Zealand, and unfortunately Jordan. So that's my prediction of how the pool's gonna go. So we'll see, and then maybe they'll make me eat my words if Jordan comes up or whatever. So, but that's what I think is gonna happen. So USA, Greece, New Zealand, and Jordan. All right. All right. So if you enjoyed any of this content, please hit the like, subscribe, and comment. And other than that, I will see you in my next preview. Bye.